I'm standing in the bank manager's office, staring at a computer screen that shows a balance of $0.17. $340,000. Gone. Vanished like morning fog over Lake Michigan. My hands won't stop shaking. Mrs. Patterson, I need you to understand, the manager says, his voice careful, practiced. The withdrawal was authorized. The person had all the correct security information, your account number, your security questions. My son, I whisper. The words taste like acid. He shifts uncomfortably. Yes, ma'am. Brian Patterson. He's been listed as an authorized user on this account since 2019. Since Robert died. Since my husband's heart attack left me drowning in medical bills and funeral arrangements, and a grief so thick I couldn't see straight. Brian had flown home from Denver, held my hand through everything, helped me organize the finances. Mom, let me help you, he'd said, his eyes so much like his father's. You shouldn't have to deal with this alone. I trusted him. God help me, I trusted my own son. The manager keeps talking, but I can't hear him anymore. There's a rushing sound in my ears, like I'm underwater. My vision tunnels. This can't be real. This can't be happening. When? I managed to ask. When did he take it? The transfer was initiated Monday morning at 9:47 a.m. It went to an account at First National, then from there. He hesitates. Mrs. Patterson, it looks like the money was moved again almost immediately. Offshore. I'm so sorry. Monday morning, 2 days ago, I was at my book club. We were discussing Where the Crawdads Sing and drinking too much wine. Sheila had made those little cucumber sandwiches I love. I was laughing, actually laughing, while my son was stealing my entire life savings. I drive home in a daze. My house, the house Robert and I bought 32 years ago, where we brought Brian home from the hospital, where we celebrated every birthday and Christmas, looks smaller somehow, diminished. I sit in the driveway for 20 minutes before I can make myself go inside. The message light is blinking on my landline. 3 missed calls, all from numbers I don't recognize. I delete them without listening. Then I do what I've been avoiding. I call Brian. It goes straight to voicemail. Hey, this is Brian. Leave a message. His voice sounds young, carefree, happy. I hang up without speaking. I try again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. 15 times I call my son. 15 times I hear that cheerful recording. On the 16th attempt, my fingers are so numb I can barely hold the phone. I text him instead. Brian, please call me. It's important. The message shows as delivered. Then, after a moment, read, but no response comes. I sink onto the couch, the same couch where Brian used to curl up next to me for movie nights, where he'd tell me about his day at school, his first girlfriend, his dreams of becoming an architect, that little boy with scraped knees and a gap-toothed smile. Where did he go? When did he become someone who could do this to me? My phone buzzes, finally. But it's not Brian. It's Martha from next door. Margaret, honey, I've been trying to reach you. I saw Brian and Vanessa yesterday morning. They had suitcases, lots of them. I waved, but they seemed in a hurry. They didn't even stop to chat. Is everything all right? My throat closes. They're traveling, I hear myself say. Work trip. Oh, well, that's nice. Tell Brian I said hello when you talk to him. I will. Thank you, Martha. I end the call and sit in the growing darkness of my living room. I don't turn on the lights. I just sit there, watching shadows stretch across the carpet, across the family photos on the wall. Brian at 5, missing his front teeth. Brian at high school graduation. Brian and Vanessa's wedding photo from last year. Vanessa. I should have known. Should have seen it. But I was so desperate for Brian to be happy after his divorce from Kelly. So relieved when he seemed to find someone new. I ignored the signs. The way Vanessa's eyes would go cold when she smiled. How she always had an excuse when I invited them to dinner. The subtle ways she'd correct me in front of Brian, making me feel old and foolish. Your mother doesn't understand modern relationships, baby, she'd said once, touching Brian's arm with those perfectly manicured nails. She's from a different generation, Brian had laughed. Not defending me, not disagreeing. Just laughing. When did I become someone my son laughed at? I force myself to stand up, to move. I need to do something. Check his room, the guest room we'd kept for him, still decorated with his old swimming trophies and debate team ribbons. The drawers are empty. Closet cleared out. On the bed, there's a folded piece of paper with my name on it. My hands shake as I open it. Mom, I know you're going to be upset, but try to understand. Vanessa and I need this. We need a fresh start, away from everything, away from the memories of Dad, away from the expectations, away from this town that's suffocating us both. You've always had everything you needed. The house is paid off. You have Dad's pension. You'll be fine, but we have nothing. We're drowning in debt from my divorce, from student loans, from just trying to survive. This is our only chance. The money, it should have been mine anyway. Dad would have wanted me to have it. You're just holding on to it because you can't let go of the past. Well, I'm choosing the future. We're starting a business in Costa Rica. A resort. It's going to be beautiful, Mom. Something real. Something ours. Maybe someday you'll come visit and you'll understand. Don't try to call. I need time. Brian. The paper slips from my fingers. I read it again. And again. Each word cuts deeper. The money should have been mine anyway. That money was from 40 years of Robert working double shifts at the plant, from me taking night shifts at the hospital so we could save for Brian's college, from selling Robert's truck after he died because I couldn't bear to keep it. Every penny earned through sacrifice and love and the belief that we were building something for our future. And Brian thinks it should have been his anyway. I don't cry. I can't. I'm beyond tears. I'm in some place past grief, past anger. I'm numb. I walk through the house like a ghost, touching things. The kitchen table where we ate dinner every night, the bookshelf Robert built, the window seat where I used to read to Brian before bed. This house full of memories that suddenly feel like lies. How long has he been planning this? Weeks? Months? How many times did he sit at my table, eat my food, hug me goodbye while plotting to rob me blind? I think about Vanessa, about the way she started showing up to family dinners 6 months ago with real estate magazines. Just dreaming, she'd say with that sweet smile. Brian and I would love to have our own place someday, somewhere warm, somewhere we could build something together. She was shopping for my money even then. And Brian, my Brian, let her. The grandfather clock in the hallway strikes 8. I haven't eaten all day. Can't imagine eating. My stomach is a knot of ice. I should call the police, report the theft. But the manager's words echo in my head. The withdrawal was authorized. Brian was on the account. Legally, he did nothing wrong. He just betrayed me in every way that matters. I'm sitting in Robert's old recliner when my phone rings. An unknown number with an international code. My heart lurches. I grab the phone, fumbling with it, nearly dropping it. Hello? Mom! It's Brian. But his voice is wrong. High, panicked, raw. Brian, where are... What did you do? He's screaming, crying. I've never heard him like this. What did you do to us? What? Brian, I hate you. Do you hear me? I hate you. His voice breaks into sobs. How could you? How could you? Brian, please calm down. Tell me what's... Don't tell me to calm down. You destroyed everything. Everything. I can't believe. I can't... He's hyperventilating now, gulping air between words. I thought you loved me. I thought... God, I'm such an idiot. Such an idiot. Brian, son, I don't understand. Where are you? Where am I? He laughs, but it's a horrible sound, jagged and broken. I'm in hell, Mom. That's where I am. And it's all your fault. You did this. You did this to me. The line goes dead. I sit there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to silence. My son's voice, full of rage, full of tears, full of something that sounds almost like fear, echoes in my head. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm the victim here. He stole from me. He abandoned me. But the terror in his voice was real. Something happened. Something bad. My hands are shaking again as I redial his number. It doesn't even ring, just goes straight to a recorded message in Spanish. I try again. Again. Nothing. What's happening? What did he mean? I look at the note again, at his words. We're starting a business in Costa Rica. But that phone call didn't sound like someone living their dream. That sounded like someone whose world was collapsing. And somehow, according to my son, it's my fault. I press my palm against my chest, trying to slow my racing heart. None of this makes sense. I'm the one who was robbed. I'm the one who was betrayed. So why do I suddenly feel afraid? The house is too quiet, too empty. I turn on every light, but it doesn't help. The shadows remain, creeping at the edges of everything. My phone sits on the coffee table, silent now, mocking me. I wait for it to ring again, for Brian to call back, to explain, to tell me what's happening. But hours pass, and nothing comes. Just me alone in this house full of ghosts, wondering what my son did, and what, apparently, I'm supposed to have done back. I need to tell you something. Something I haven't been entirely honest about. When I said I discovered the money was gone on Wednesday, that's true. But what I didn't tell you is that I'd been expecting it. Not hoping for it. God, no. But expecting it. Let me go back 3 weeks. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was at the grocery store, reaching for a box of Earl Grey tea, when I heard Vanessa's voice from the next aisle over. She was on her phone, speaking low, but the store was nearly empty and sound carries. "No, he doesn't suspect anything," she said. "His mother's loaded and the old woman trusts him completely. We just need to wait for the right moment." My hand froze on the tea box. "I told you it's not stealing if it's family money. He's her only kid. It would go to him eventually anyway. We're just accelerating the timeline." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Trust me, baby. By this time next month, we'll be sipping cocktails in paradise, and that witch will be yesterday's problem." I left my cart right there in the aisle and walked out. Drove home on autopilot. Sat in my driveway for an hour. That night, I barely slept. Part of me wanted to believe I'd misheard, that it was someone else, some other awful daughter-in-law plotting against some other mother. But I knew Vanessa's voice, and I knew, deep in my bones, that she'd been talking about me, about Brian, about our money. The next morning, I called Gerald Pierce, an attorney Robert and I had used for our estate planning. I told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, "Margaret, I'm going to be straight with you. If Brian is authorized on that account, there's not much you can do legally to stop him from accessing it. But there are things we can do to protect you." "Like what?" "Move the money. Create a new account in your name only. Leave just enough in the old account that if someone checks, it won't look suspicious. And Margaret," he paused, "you might want to consider hiring a private investigator. If this woman has done this before, there will be a trail." So that's what I did. I hired a man named Dennis Kowalski, former police detective now running his own investigation firm. It took him less than a week to uncover Vanessa's history. Her real name was Vanessa Judith Hartley, and she had a record. Nothing violent, but a pattern. In Phoenix, she'd dated a man named Marcus Chen for 8 months. When she left, Marcus discovered his savings account had been drained, $28,000 gone. He never pressed charges because, like Brian, he'd given her access to his accounts. In Austin, another boyfriend, another disappearance, another empty bank account. She was a professional, and my son was just her latest mark. Dennis laid the reports on my kitchen table. Photos, bank statements, police reports that went nowhere because technically she'd never broken any laws. Just broken hearts and emptied wallets. "There's more," Dennis said, sliding another folder toward me. "She's been in contact with someone in Cancun. We traced phone records. Looks like she's been planning this for at least 4 months. There's a property deal she's been involved in, supposedly a resort investment opportunity. But Mrs. Patterson, I checked with the Mexican authorities. The property doesn't exist. It's a scam. She's setting your son up to lose everything." I stared at the papers until the words blurred. "What do I do?" "You could tell Brian, show him all of this." Would he believe me? Dennis looked at me with sad, knowing eyes. "Probably not. Not yet. Love makes people blind. But you know what might work? Let her think she's winning. Move your money somewhere safe, but leave enough behind that she'll take the bait. When she runs, and she will run, he'll see who she really is. That's cruel. It's survival, Mrs. Patterson. Sometimes the only way people learn is by hitting the ground hard. So I moved $335,000 to a new account at a different bank. Left only $5,000 in the original account. Enough to look like a normal checking account balance if someone glanced at it, but not enough for Vanessa's big plans. But here's what I did next, and this is the part that's kept me awake every night since. I planted evidence. Fake documents showing offshore investment accounts, retirement funds, certificates of deposit. I left them in a folder marked financial planning in my desk drawer, a drawer I knew Brian had access to because he'd helped me file taxes last year. The documents looked real. They showed balances totaling nearly $800,000, money that didn't exist. Gerald had helped me create them. If she's planning to rob you anyway, at least you'll know when it happens, he said. And when she discovers the money isn't there, you'll find out exactly what kind of person she is and what kind of hold she has on your son. I felt sick doing it, like I was setting a trap for my own child. But what choice did I have? Watch him destroy his life? Or let him learn the truth the hard way? 3 days after I planted those documents, I came home to find the drawer slightly open, papers disturbed. Someone had been looking. 1 week after that, my account was emptied. And now, sitting in my dark living room after Brian's hysterical phone call, I understand what happened. Vanessa thought she was getting $340,000. Maybe she'd seen those fake documents and thought she was getting even more. She convinced Brian to take everything and run. But when they got to Mexico, when she tried to access the offshore accounts and investments, they didn't exist. There was only the $5,000. Barely enough to cover their flights and a few nights in a hotel. Not enough for her resort dream, not enough for paradise, not enough for whatever she'd promised him. So she left him. My phone rings again, same international number. I answer before the first ring finishes. Brian? Mom. His voice is quieter now, raw, exhausted. Mom, please, I need help. Where are you? What happened? Cancun. I'm in Cancun. He takes a shuddering breath. Vanessa's gone. She left. Took everything. The money, the credit cards, my passport. Everything. My chest tightens. Your passport? She said she needed it for the resort paperwork. For registration. I was so stupid. So incredibly stupid. He's crying again, but softer now. Broken. The resort doesn't exist, Mom. It was never real. None of it was real. Brian, there's more. His voice cracks. The hotel manager came to our room this morning. Said the credit card was declined. Said we owe them for 3 nights, nearly $2,000. Vanessa had already checked out, but the room was in my name. When I couldn't pay, they called the police. Mom, they think I'm trying to scam them. They took my phone, my wallet. They're saying I could be charged with fraud. The room spins. How are you calling me? The American consulate. They let me make 1 call. Mom, I'm terrified. I don't understand what's happening. The police keep asking me questions in Spanish and I can't. He's hyperventilating again. Why would she do this? I gave her everything. I loved her. We were going to build a life together. Brian, I try to keep my voice steady. Listen to me carefully. Is anyone from the consulate with you right now? Yes, a woman. She's been trying to help, but put her on the phone. There's shuffling, muffled voices. Then a woman's voice. Professional, but kind. Mrs. Patterson? This is Julia Ramirez with the U.S. Consulate in Cancun. Tell me what's happening. She explains it all. The hotel charges, the police report. The fact that Brian technically entered Mexico on a tourist visa, but was allegedly conducting business, attempting to purchase property, which requires different documentation. Vanessa had set up meetings with supposed investors, property managers, lawyers, all using Brian's name. When the deals fell through and money went missing, all the paperwork pointed back to him. Is he being arrested? Not yet, but he's being detained for questioning. If the hotel presses charges, or if the business investigation deepens, he could face serious problems. The best thing would be to settle the hotel bill, provide documentation of his actual financial situation, and prove he was a victim of fraud rather than a perpetrator. How much? For all of it. Lawyers, the hotel, everything to get him home. She hesitates. Realistically, between $15,000 and $25,000. Maybe more if this gets complicated. I close my eyes. That money is sitting in my new account. Money I protected. Money I saved from Vanessa's scheme. I'll wire it, I hear myself say. Tell me where and how. Mrs. Patterson, are you sure? If your son was involved in... He wasn't. He's an idiot, but he's not a criminal. Tell me what you need. She gives me the information. Account numbers, embassy contact details. I write it all down with shaking hands. Can I talk to Brian again? She puts him back on. Mom? His voice is so small, like when he was 7 and fell off his bike, came running to me with bloody knees. I'm going to fix this, I tell him. But Brian, I need you to be honest with me. Completely honest. Did you know about Vanessa's past? Did you know what she was planning? No, God, no. I swear, Mom. She told me. She said the money was just sitting there, not earning anything. She said we could turn it into something real, something that would secure our future. She made it sound like I was being smart, like I was finally taking control of my life instead of just waiting around for permission. He swallows hard. She said you were holding me back, that you'd never let me be independent as long as I stayed close. She said taking the money was the only way I'd ever really grow up. Every word is a knife, but I keep my voice level. Did it occur to you to ask me? To talk to me about investing? About helping you and Vanessa start a business? Silence, long and heavy. No, he finally whispers. It didn't, because she said you'd say no, that you'd make it about Dad, about what he would have wanted, that you'd guilt me into staying small. Another pause. Was she wrong? The question hangs between us. Would I have said no? Would I have tried to stop him? Maybe. Probably. Not because I wanted to hold him back, but because I would have seen through Vanessa. I would have asked questions. I would have investigated. And Brian would have resented me for it. I would have tried to protect you, I say quietly. But you're right. You probably wouldn't have listened. The money, Mom. When we got here, when Vanessa checked the accounts, there was barely anything there. She went crazy, started screaming at me, saying I'd lied to her about how much you had. She showed me these papers, these documents about offshore accounts and investments. She said I was incompetent, that I'd screwed everything up. His voice hardened slightly. Where did that money go? The statements showed over $300,000. Here it is, the moment I've been dreading. I moved it, I say. 3 weeks ago. You what? I heard Vanessa on the phone, at the grocery store. She was talking to someone about stealing from me, about manipulating you, so I moved the money somewhere safe. The silence that follows is deafening. You knew. His voice is cold now. You knew she was planning this, and you didn't tell me? Would you have believed me? You could have tried. Could I? Brian, be honest. If I'd come to you 3 weeks ago and said Vanessa was using you, that she was a con artist, that she'd done this before, would you have believed me? Or would you have accused me of being jealous, of trying to control your life, of not wanting you to be happy? He doesn't answer, because we both know the truth. I tried to protect you the only way I could, I continue. I left enough money that if you just needed help, it would be there. But not enough that she could destroy your entire life. I hoped, that when you saw who she really was, you'd come home. I hate you, he says. But there's no strength behind it anymore. Just exhaustion. I hate that you were right. I hate that I didn't see it. I hate that I'm sitting here in a police station in a foreign country, because I was too stupid to question the woman I loved. His breath hitches. I hate that I chose her over you. My vision blurs with tears. I know. Are you going to help me? Such a simple question. Such an impossible question. I think about the money I protected. The money that was supposed to be for my retirement, my security, my future. I think about Brian's note. The money should have been mine anyway. and the entitlement in those words. I think about the years I spent raising him alone while Robert worked overtime. The sacrifices, the love, the hope that I was building a good man. And then I think about that 7-year-old boy with bloody knees, running to me because he knew, without question, that Mom would fix it. Yes, I say, I'm going to help you, but things are going to be different when you come home. Do you understand? I don't have a home anymore. I ruined everything. You have a home. You always have. But you can't come back as the person who left. That person made choices that hurt both of us. The person who comes back needs to be different. I don't know how to be different. You're going to learn, starting now. I straighten my shoulders. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm wiring money to the consulate. Julia is going to help you sort out the legal issues. You're going to cooperate fully with any investigation. You're going to be honest about Vanessa, about what happened, about all of it. And when you get home, if you choose to come home, you're going to work. You're going to pay back every cent of those legal fees, and you're going to rebuild your life from the ground up. Not my life, not Vanessa's life, your life. Do you hear me? Yes. His voice is barely audible. Say it. Say you understand. I understand, Mom. He breaks down completely. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I let him cry. I cry too. Silent tears running down my face in the darkness of my living room. Finally, he speaks again. Did you ever love me? Or did you just love who you wanted me to be? The question pierces me. I've always loved you, Brian. Even when you broke my heart. Even when you stole from me. Even now. That's what being a mother means. You love your child even when they become someone you don't recognize. But loving you doesn't mean accepting everything you do. It means holding you accountable because I believe you can be better. What if I can't be? Then you can't. And I'll have to live with that. But I'm not giving up on you yet. We stay on the line for a few more minutes, not talking, just breathing together across thousands of miles. When we finally hang up, I sit in the quiet house and let myself feel everything. The betrayal, the relief that he's not in jail, the fear of what comes next, the anger that still simmers beneath everything else. Then I open my laptop and begin the process of wiring money to save my son from the consequences of trying to ruin me. It's well past midnight when I finish. I should sleep, but I know I won't. Instead, I pour myself a glass of the whiskey Robert used to drink on special occasions. I take it out to the back porch and sit in the swing we installed when Brian was a baby. The stars are brilliant tonight, clear and cold and infinitely far away. Somewhere out there, Vanessa is probably celebrating. She got away with it. Again. She'll find another target, spin another web, destroy another family. But she didn't get everything. She didn't get my home. She didn't get my future. And despite everything, she didn't get my son. Not permanently. I think about the choice I made tonight. To help Brian despite what he did. Some people would say I'm enabling him. That I should let him rot in that Mexican jail. Let him face the full weight of his decisions. Maybe they're right. But I'm his mother. And sometimes being a mother means doing the hard thing, the painful thing, the thing that costs you everything, because you still believe, somewhere deep down, that love matters, even when it's tested, even when it breaks your heart. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Tell Brian he was always too weak. You raised a coward. Enjoy your boring little life, old woman. Some of us actually know how to live. Vanessa. I stare at the message for a long time. Then I do something that surprises even me. I smile. Because she doesn't know that she lost. She thinks she won. Thinks she got away clean. But she left behind exactly what I needed. Evidence. Proof. A paper trail showing fraud, manipulation, theft. I forward the message to Dennis Kowalski with a note. Can we use this? His response comes within minutes. Oh, we can use this. Save everything. Document everything. When your son gets home, we're going to make sure she never does this to anyone else again. I finish my whiskey and go back inside. Tomorrow, I'll wire the money. Tomorrow, I'll start the process of bringing Brian home. But tonight, I let myself imagine something I haven't allowed myself to hope for in weeks. My son, older and wiser and scarred, sitting across from me at the kitchen table. Not the boy who left, not the man who betrayed me, but someone new, someone real, someone worth saving. The house settles around me as I finally climb the stairs to bed. In Brian's old room, that note still sits on the dresser. The money should have been mine anyway. I pick it up and fold it carefully, put it in my pocket. Evidence of who he was, of what he said, of how far we still have to go. Brian comes home on a Tuesday afternoon in late September. I'm waiting at the airport, standing near the international arrivals gate with my hands clasped so tight my knuckles are white. I almost don't recognize him. He's lost weight. His clothes hang loose on his frame, and there are shadows under his eyes that weren't there 6 weeks ago. He walks slowly, carefully, like someone who's learned that the ground can disappear beneath their feet without warning. When he sees me, he stops, just stands there in the middle of the terminal while people flow around him like water around a stone. I don't run to him. I don't wave. I just wait. Finally, he crosses the distance between us, stops a few feet away. "Hi, Mom," he says quietly. "Hi, baby." We stand there looking at each other. Two people who used to know everything about each other and now know almost nothing. "Thank you," he says, "for getting me home. I know I don't deserve. We'll talk about what you deserve later. Right now, let's just get you home." The drive back to Cedar Falls is silent. Brian stares out the window at the familiar streets, the trees beginning their autumn transformation. I wonder what he's thinking. If he's relieved, if he's ashamed, if he's already regretting coming back. When we pull into the driveway, he doesn't move right away. "Is it okay?" he asks. "Me being here? Your room is ready, but Brian, this isn't permanent. This is temporary while you figure out what comes next. We need to be clear about that from the start." He nods, doesn't argue. That alone tells me how much he's changed. Inside, he goes straight to his old room. I hear the door close quietly, not slammed, just closed. I make dinner, chicken and roasted vegetables, simple and nourishing. When I knock on his door at 6, he opens it immediately, like he's been waiting. We eat at the kitchen table, the same table where we've shared thousands of meals. But this one is different, heavier. Every bite of food, every clink of silverware, feels significant. "The lawyer you hired in Cancun," Brian finally says. "She was really good. Got everything sorted out in 3 days. The hotel dropped the charges once they understood what happened." "Good. She said you paid her nearly $8,000. "I did. Plus the hotel bill, plus my flight home, plus..." He sets down his fork. "Mom, it was over $20,000, wasn't it? $22,416, plus the money Dennis charged for his investigation. That was another $3,000. Brian's face goes pale. "How am I ever going to pay you back?" "We'll figure it out, one step at a time." He pushes food around his plate. "Where did the money come from? The $340,000 I thought I took. Where did it actually go?" "Different bank. New account. Only in my name." "When?" "After I heard Vanessa planning to rob me." He flinches at the word rob, but doesn't deny it. "You could have told me. We've been over this. You wouldn't have listened." "Maybe I would have." I meet his eyes. "Would you?" Long silence. Then, "No, probably not. She was very good at making me think you were the enemy, that you wanted to control me, that you resented my happiness." He laughs bitterly. "I actually believed her when she said you were jealous. Can you imagine? Jealous of what? A woman who was actively plotting to destroy us both? Love makes us blind. That wasn't love. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't love." He stands abruptly, walks to the window. I keep thinking about all the signs I missed. The way she'd change the subject whenever I asked about her family. How she never wanted to spend time with you alone. The phone calls she'd take in another room. The way she always had an answer for everything. Always a reason why things had to be her way. "Brian, I chose her over you, Mom. When she said we needed to take the money and leave, I didn't even hesitate. I just did it." Didn't think about what it would do to you. Didn't care. His voice cracks. What kind of person does that make me? I stand, walk over to him, put my hand on his shoulder. He stiffens, then relaxes. It makes you human, flawed, foolish, but not irredeemable. How can you even stand to look at me? Because you're my son. And because for the first time since this whole nightmare started, you're actually taking responsibility. That's not nothing, Brian. That's actually everything. He turns to face me, and I see tears running down his cheeks. I wrote you a letter. In Cancun. When I thought I might actually end up in prison. I have it in my bag. Do you want to read it? Only if you want me to. He nods, goes to his room, returns with a crumpled envelope. His hands shake as he gives it to me. I open it carefully. Inside, pages and pages written in his messy handwriting. I read standing right there while he watches. The letter is raw, painful. He writes about the divorce from Kelly, how it made him feel like a failure. About meeting Vanessa and feeling seen, feeling special for the first time in years. About how she slowly isolated him from everyone, friends, family, his own instincts. How she made him believe that everyone else was wrong and only she understood him. He writes about the moment he transferred the money, how his hands shook, how a voice in his head screamed at him to stop. But Vanessa was there, rubbing his shoulders, whispering about their future, and he pushed the voice away. He writes about the plane ride to Cancun, the growing unease in his stomach, the way Vanessa kept checking her phone, kept smiling to herself. The hotel room where he finally logged into the account and saw the balance. $5,000. Not $340,000. Just $5,000. She lost her mind, the letter says. Started screaming that I was useless, that I'd lied to her, that I'd ruined everything. Showed me these papers. Mom, they looked so real, showing that you had nearly $1 million in other accounts. She said I was too stupid to even rob my own mother properly. That's when I knew. That's when I finally understood what she was. But it was too late. Everything was already gone. The letter ends with, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything from you anymore. I just need you to know that I'm sorry. Sorry for being weak. Sorry for hurting you. Sorry for becoming someone Dad would be ashamed of. If I ever get home, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be the son you deserved, even if you never want to see me again. I fold the letter carefully. Your father wouldn't be ashamed of you now. How can you say that, after what I did? Because you're here, because you're facing it, because you're not making excuses or blaming everyone else. That takes courage, Brian. More courage than running away ever did. We stand there in my kitchen, mother and son, with years of hurt and hope between us. What happens now? He asks. Now we rebuild, but we do it differently this time. Over the next few weeks, we establish new patterns, new rules. Brian gets a job at the hardware store downtown. It's not glamorous, stocking shelves, helping customers, minimum wage, but he shows up every day, comes home tired, hands me his first paycheck with trembling fingers. It's not much, he says. It's a start. He opens a bank account in his own name, starts paying me back $200 a month. At that rate, it'll take nearly 10 years to repay what I spent saving him. But it's not really about the money anymore. It's about him understanding that actions have consequences, that trust must be rebuilt brick by brick. We start going to therapy together. Dr. Sarah Chen, a family therapist recommended by Gerald. The sessions are brutal. Brian talks about feeling inadequate his whole life, always trying to live up to his father's memory. I talk about holding on too tight, about making Brian my whole world after Robert died. You were suffocating me, he says during one session. I know that sounds cruel, but it's true. Every decision I made, I could hear your voice in my head, see your disappointment. When Vanessa came along and told me I could be free, I wanted that so badly I ignored everything else. Dr. Chen looks at me. Margaret, how does that make you feel? Sad, I say honestly, because I didn't realize. I thought I was being loving, being supportive, but I was actually making him smaller. And now, Now I'm trying to let him be whoever he needs to be, even if that person is someone I don't entirely recognize. It's hard. God, it's so hard. There are days when I want to tell him how to live his life, what job to take, where to apply, what to say, but I bite my tongue, step back. Let him make his own mistakes. Small ones this time. Human-sized mistakes. Not life-destroying ones. 6 weeks after Brian comes home, Dennis calls. We found her. Vanessa? She's in Miami, using a different name. Jessica Hartwell this time. But it's definitely her. She's already got a new target. Older man, widower, owns a chain of dry cleaners. She's moved in with him. Same pattern. My stomach twists. What can we do? With what we have? The texts, the phone records, Brian's testimony about the fraud in Mexico? We can build a case, get the FBI involved. This crosses state lines now, international boundaries. She's committed wire fraud, identity theft, probably a dozen other crimes. But Margaret? It won't be easy. Brian will have to testify. Relive everything. Are you both ready for that? I look across the living room where Brian is reading a book. Something about rebuilding after trauma. He looks up, sees my expression. What is it? I tell him. Watch his face go through a dozen emotions. Fear, anger, shame, determination. We have to stop her, he says finally, before she does this to someone else. It's going to be hard. Lawyers, depositions, maybe even a trial. I don't care. She can't keep getting away with this. So we do it. We work with Dennis, with FBI agents who specialize in fraud cases. Brian spends hours giving testimony, going over every detail of his relationship with Vanessa. Every lie she told, every manipulation, every moment he should have questioned her but didn't. It's agonizing, but it's also healing. Each time he tells the story, it has less power over him. 3 months after we file the complaint, Vanessa is arrested in Miami. The man she was living with, Leonard Shaw, 72 years old, breaks down during the investigation. She'd already convinced him to give her access to his accounts. Another few weeks and he would have lost everything. The trial is scheduled for the following spring. In the meantime, 3 other men come forward with similar stories. Vanessa, or Jessica, or whatever her real name is, has left a trail of destruction across multiple states. You saved that man's life, I tell Brian one evening. Leonard Shaw. If you hadn't come forward, hadn't been willing to testify. I didn't do it for him. I did it because it was right. Because for once in my life, I wanted to do the right thing instead of the easy thing. He pauses. And because I wanted you to see that I could. Winter comes. The first snow falls on a Sunday morning. Brian and I drink coffee on the back porch, wrapped in blankets, watching the world turn white. I got accepted into a program, he says suddenly, at the community college, business administration. I know it's not architecture like I originally wanted, but it's what you want now. That's what matters. It'll take 2 years. I'll be working full-time and going to school part-time. It's going to be exhausting. You can do exhausting. You've done much harder things. He smiles. A real smile. Not the broken ones from before. Can I stay here while I'm in school? I'll keep paying you back. I'll help with the house. I'm not ready to be on my own yet. My first instinct is to say yes immediately, to tell him he can stay forever. But Dr. Chen's voice echoes in my head. Let him ask. Let him need you, but don't make him dependent on you. On one condition, I say. We split the household responsibilities 50-50. You're not my little boy anymore. You're a grown man who lives with his mother temporarily. That means you cook half the dinners, do your own laundry, contribute to groceries. We're roommates who happen to be related. Can you handle that? He looks surprised, then thoughtful. Yeah, I can handle that. Then yes, you can stay. We sit in comfortable silence, watching the snow accumulate. Mom? He says after a while. Do you think you'll ever really forgive me? Or is this, he gestures between us, as good as it gets? I consider the question carefully. I think forgiveness isn't a destination. It's not something you reach and then you're done. It's more like a garden. You have to tend it every day. Some days the weeds grow back and you have to pull them again. Some days new flowers bloom and you didn't even know you planted them. That sounds exhausting. It is, but it's also worth it. Because the alternative is letting the garden die completely, and I'm not ready to do that. Neither am I. A Christmas comes, just the two of us. We make Robert's favorite dinner, prime rib and garlic mashed potatoes. Set a place for him at the table, like we used to do those first years after he died. Do you think Dad would understand? Brian asks. Why I did what I did? I think your father would have made mistakes too if he'd lived long enough. We all do. The question isn't whether we make mistakes, it's what we do after. What am I doing after? You're showing up. You're doing the work. You're becoming someone who can look at themselves in the mirror without flinching. I raise my glass. That's not nothing, Brian. That's actually everything. We toast. To Robert. To survival. To second chances. In January, Vanessa's trial begins. Brian testifies on the third day. I sit in the courtroom, watching my son speak calmly and clearly about the worst moments of his life. About being manipulated. About betraying his mother. About losing everything. Vanessa stares at him with cold eyes. No remorse. No recognition of the harm she's caused. She's a beautiful shell with nothing inside but hunger. The jury convicts her on 12 counts of fraud. She's sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. When it's over, Brian and I stand outside the courthouse in the February cold. It's done, he says. It's done. I agree. Why don't I feel better? Because justice doesn't heal everything. It just closes a door. You still have to walk through new ones. We drive home through the gray winter afternoon. Spring is coming, though you can't see it yet. But it's there, waiting beneath the frozen ground. 3 months later, Brian gets his associate's degree. I sit in the audience at the community college gymnasium, watching him walk across the stage. He's not the youngest graduate, not the most successful, just one of dozens of students in blue caps and gowns. But when he gets his diploma, he turns and finds me in the crowd, holds it up, smiles, and something in my chest, something that's been clenched tight for over a year, finally loosens. After the ceremony, we go to dinner at the Italian restaurant downtown, the same place we used to celebrate birthdays when he was young. I got a job offer, he says over pasta. Assistant manager at a property management company. It's not much, but it's a real career track. Benefits, room to grow. That's wonderful. It means I can get my own place. Small apartment, nothing fancy, but mine. Here it is. The moment I've been preparing for and dreading in equal measure. When? I ask. End of the month, if that's okay. Of course it's okay. It's what we've been working toward. I'm going to keep paying you back. It'll be slower now with rent and everything, but I'm not worried about the money, Brian. I am. It matters to me that I pay back every cent. We finish dinner, drive home through the warm spring evening. The trees are blooming, filling the air with sweetness. That night, after Brian goes to bed, I sit on the back porch with a glass of wine. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Mrs. Patterson? This is Leonard Shaw. The FBI gave me your contact information. I wanted to thank you and your son for what you did. For stopping her before she destroyed my life the way she tried to destroy yours. I know it wasn't easy for Brian to come forward. Please tell him he saved me. Truly saved me. I read the message 3 times. Then I forward it to Brian with a note. You did this. You made this difference. I'm proud of you. His response comes immediately. I learned from the best. Love you, Mom. 3 simple words, but they mean everything. Moving day arrives. Brian doesn't have much. Clothes, books, a few pieces of furniture I'm letting him take. We load everything into a rental truck. The apartment is in the next town over, 20 minutes away. Close enough to visit, far enough to be independent. We unpack in silence, arranging furniture, hanging curtains. When we're done, the apartment looks sparse, but hopeful. A blank canvas waiting to be filled with new memories. This is good, Brian says, looking around. This is really good. It is. Mom, he turns to face me. I need to say something, and I need you to just listen, okay? Don't interrupt. Don't tell me it's fine. Just hear me. I nod. I stole from you. I betrayed your trust in the worst way possible. I chose someone who was using me over the person who loved me unconditionally. I said and did things I can never take back. His voice is steady, but tears stream down his face. And you saved me anyway. You didn't have to. You could have let me rot in that Mexican jail. You could have written me off as a lost cause. But you didn't. You fought for me even when I didn't deserve it. And I need you to know that I understand. I understand what you gave up, what you risked, what it cost you. Brian, I'm not done. He swallows hard. I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of that. Not by paying you back, though I will, but by becoming someone who would never make that choice again. Someone who sees manipulation for what it is. Someone who chooses the people who matter over the people who flatter. Someone Dad would be proud of. He wipes his eyes. I can't promise I'll never make mistakes, but I can promise there'll be honest mistakes from now on. No more lies, no more shortcuts, just showing up and doing the work. I walk over to him, put my hands on either side of his face the way I used to when he was small. You already are that person, I tell him. You became that person the moment you decided to come home. Everything since then has just been you learning to trust yourself again. We hug, long and tight. A mother and her son who almost lost each other but found their way back. When I finally leave, Brian walks me to my car, stands in the parking lot waving as I drive away. In my rearview mirror, I see him standing there until I turn the corner. The drive home feels different. Lighter. The house, when I pull into the driveway, looks smaller, quieter, but not empty. Never empty. Because I learned something through all of this. Something I didn't know I needed to learn. You can love someone completely and still let them go. You can be hurt by someone deeply and still choose to heal. You can lose everything and still find yourself standing. That night, I sit at my kitchen table with a cup of tea and my laptop. I open a new document, title it, What I Know Now. Then I write, trust is earned, but forgiveness is chosen. Consequences teach what protection cannot. Love means holding on and letting go in equal measure. People can change, but only if they choose to do the work. And sometimes, the greatest act of love is allowing someone to fall, and then being there to help them stand back up. I save the document, close the laptop. Outside, the stars are bright, the same stars that watched over me through the worst days. The same stars that will be there tomorrow and the next day and all the days after that. My phone buzzes one more time. Brian. Made spaghetti for dinner, burned it slightly, ate it anyway. This is harder than it looks. Miss you already. I smile, type back. That's how you learn. Proud of you. See you Sunday for dinner? Wouldn't miss it. I set the phone down and look around my house. My sanctuary, my fortress, my home. It's quiet, but it's not lonely, because I have something better than a house full of people. I have a life full of meaning. I have a son who's finding his way. I have boundaries I didn't know I needed. I have strength I didn't know I possessed. And I have a garden to tend, the garden of forgiveness, growing slowly, surely one day at a time. Some flowers take years to bloom, but when they finally do, they're worth every moment of waiting.